In today's episode, My Dad's a Hero, a Sambo championship took place in Lutsk with the Serhiy Huluk Cup as the grand prize. Garage bottling, a store of illegal alcohol was found in Odessa region. Despite the fishing ban in place during the spawning season, poachers still keep going out to sea in boats. Every year, they gather in Lutsk to change from their usual camouflage into kimonos. Soldiers don't just compete on the tatami mat. This Sambo tournament is held in memory of their deceased comrade, athlete and border guard Serhiy Huluk. Sergeant Huluk served for over 13 years at the Lutsk Border Guard Detachment. He was raising 3 children with his wife. The law permitted the father to avoid involvement in hostilities in the East. Despite that, he went to war in 2014 without any hesitation. He came up to me and said there was this law, but he also said he was not going to be a coward. He said his men were going there, so he could not remain at home, and he went with them. He was a soldier and defender when on duty in sports and life in general. He remains such a man in the memories of his relatives. He was very kind. He often helped his friends. Even now, these men say good things about Dad. Dmitro, Serhiy's eldest son, is following in his father's footsteps. He's studying at the military lyceum and naturally is into sports, just like his father. When I was small, he would sometimes come to my training sessions to train me, so I would start winning. I'm very grateful to him for this. Martial arts are strongly encouraged in the border guard service as they harden the spirit and body. They also make an individual more disciplined. On this occasion, 25 teams competed for the Serhiy Huluk Cup. Last year's winners, the Chernihiv detachment, defended their champion title. I'm very glad that such competitions are held and that Serhiy is remembered every year. I'm also glad that many athletes gather to compete for a cup dedicated to Serhiy. Border guards remember and honor their heroes. In the years of Russian aggression since 2014, they have lost 70 comrades in Donbass. 3 of them, First Lieutenant Vyacheslav Semenov, Colonel Yevhen Pikus, and Major General Ihor Momot, were awarded the title of Hero of Ukraine. In the times of the Soviet Union, a garage was an object of pride. If you had such a shack, your status was already a few notches higher. It didn't matter that it contained a pile of junk, as it could be enjoyed with pleasure. These urban oases were places filled with drama, barbecues and songs. The undemanding male imagination had no bounds. These traditions are still alive. However, law enforcers are aware of cases when garages are not used for their intended purpose, or recreation. They're often used to store stolen cars, contraband, and sometimes even guns. Such underground bases are very popular at the border because it's not easy to find contraband in the concrete jungle. This is a garage cooperative in the town of Podilsk, Odessa region. Eager entrepreneurs organized a secret warehouse here. They poured alcohol smuggled illegally from Transnistria from barrels into bottles for sale. The process went almost unnoticed. However, law enforcers took an interest in the premises. During the search, they found over a ton of alcohol, containers, hoses, and a special pump for the surrogate. Almost 3,000 packets of cigarettes without excise stamps were the icing on the cake. According to the labels, they were produced in Moldova and Switzerland. It could be either contraband or made in garage. All illegal items were removed. I wonder if the owners of the garage will dare to use it for a different purpose again. That will largely depend on the punishment for their current sins. Illegal transactions involving excisable goods are a criminal offense in Ukraine. However, it is up to a court to decide whether the verdict will be a fine, confiscation, or imprisonment. Sturgeon, starry sturgeon, and turbot. Despite the fishing ban in place during the spawning season, poachers still keep going out to sea in boats. Poverty, China, brothel, prison. Law enforcers interrupted the career path of prostitutes, hoping to go abroad. "100 meters of netting and 12 pieces of valuable turbot fish. The evidence of poaching by the owners of this watercraft is right before you. Border guards detained the men who decided to fish despite the ban near Odessa. They turned their attention to two men who were fiddling around zealously in their boat. As it turned out, the poachers were hurriedly covering the forbidden nets and catch. But no matter whether or not they hit it, they will have to answer for this. Representatives of the fishing guard patrol were waiting at the coast for the unfortunate fishermen. The value of the turbot they caught was estimated at over 10,000 hryvnias. The offenders will also have to pay a fine of about 1,000 hryvnias. Do you think that stopped them? Not at all. Just a few days later, one of them was detained a second time. On spotting the border guard boat, the man tried to throw the fish overboard. He got into trouble again. Maybe some of you believe that catching poachers is not a job for border guards. Well, you're wrong. The fight against poaching in the maritime economic zone is the direct responsibility of border guards, as stated in the law on the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, and the Administrative Code also contains the relevant article. Maritime security and land forces units cooperate with other bodies that control the catching of bioresources. The results are encouraging. In the first quarter of this year alone, border guards submitted 85 reports on administrative violations. This means illegal fishing for a total value in excess of 300,000 hryvnias. The situation in the Sea of Azov is also difficult. It once provided jobs for thousands of fishing families. Now fish have to be freed from the nets of poachers. Within the space of just a few days, border guards of the Azov Black Sea Regional Administration pulled out almost half a kilometer of banned nets and such fake nets. Several hundred kilograms of fish and shrimp ended up in these traps, including 24 protected sturgeon. However, everything was returned back to its familiar surroundings thanks to the work of law enforcers. We're increasing our presence in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov, and accordingly, we're stepping up actions to counter poaching on our waterways. Perhaps large fines, the confiscation of fishing gear and boats can reduce the enthusiasm of the offenders. Just grab a fishing rod, guys. It's enjoyable, legal, and you won't be risking a thing. This is China, an amazing country that gave the world many inventions. The pace of its current economic growth is impressive. That is due to a considerable extent to strict legislation. For example, persons caught red-handed in corrupt acts are simply executed by a firing squad in this country. The court is inexorable, and calling a friend won't help, and after a broadcast like this, you will dare to offer a bribe. Priestesses of love are also facing jail time. Prostitution is officially prohibited here. The country that has a population of almost 1.5 billion has its own views about exotic appearance. Therefore, girls from all over the world flock here like moths to a flame, usually with the intention of working as models and in nightclubs. However, the young workers often become live goods. Our compatriots are also among them. Employees of the National Police, Border Guard, and the Prosecutor's Office shut down an international trafficking channel in Odessa region. We arrested 2 foreign citizens who recruited 5 girls and attempted to send them to the People's Republic of China with the intention of using them as sex workers. Investigators spent 6 months trailing foreigners who had been sending Ukrainian women abroad. Most of them were young girls. The traffickers promised them up to $400 per hour with free accommodation and meals. The criminals searched for their future victims, who were in a difficult financial situation and searching for a job on the internet. They had posted job search adverts online. One of the traffickers was detained at Kyiv's Borispol airport. He was escorting 5 Ukrainian women to China. Investigators apprehended his accomplice in Odessa at the same time. They now face punishment for trafficking people, and the rescued girls are probably unaware of just how lucky they are. After all, according to Chinese laws, they're ordinary criminals.